Sorted. So, yeah, what have you been up to today?
Just working, really. Yeah, we've got the Luton Town programme for the Grimsby game on the go at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. I don't know how I'm going to sit on this. This is like, what is this chair?
Well, would you rather sit on this one?
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I like...
So basically, you kind of put your shins on these bits.
On them bits?
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh my God, I'm going to fall.
You don't have to sit on it like that. Or you could just sit on the...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah?
That's quite comfortable. Yeah, but I don't feel I can face it.
Do you want to sit on this?
No, it's fine.
Sure.
It's fine. This is fine.
Right,
this is fine.
Okay, that's cool.
Hello, Ed.
Hello, mate.
Thank you for letting me into your house and for coming onto my show. Hello, everybody else. Welcome to Luton's Deadpool podcast with me, Luton's Deadpool. I'm my special guest today, Ed, the amazing Ed, the guy that has been in the BBC News lately. He's made a calendar and just amazing prints of artwork for images of iconography throughout our town. Like really, really beautiful images. So thank you very much for having me around. Really, really means a lot. You know, you're one of the earlier people who I started interacting with. I think it was, I said, I don't know what was going on. I remember just saying something about be more like Ed. Do you remember that?
I do remember. I think I remember what it was about as well. It was, there was a news on, was it Bedfordshire on Sunday or Bedfordshire? I can't remember which one it was now. It was one of those news outlets. And they'd taken sort of like quite a predictable, clickbaity headline about Luton and about how it was this and that. And I've kind of taken to trying to sort of politely call people out on that sort of thing. I don't know if you remember now. But it was something along those lines anyway. And I sort of had a bit of a go at them really and said, look, you know, it's a bit of a mean way to try and get more clicks on your stories is to just deliberately, you know, get on at Luton about certain things, you know, knowing that it's going to cause a stir. And to be fair to them, I did get a message back from one of their journalists. I can't remember the fellow's name now, and he sort of seemed to agree. And to be fair, I've not seen quite as much of that going on.
Yeah. So maybe
I'm not saying it's anything to do with me.
Mate, you maybe started a thought process with them because that is. It's not just a problem for Luton as well. It's a problem just in the world in general at the moment. That obviously newspapers don't have the same way of getting the attention as what they used to. You know, it used to be you go and buy the Sun or you go and buy the Mail, you get your local paper delivered or whatever, but nobody reads them anymore. Do you know what I mean? And some people do. I don't know why. I mean, I probably would. There's like, just for me, there's no reason to buy a newspaper anymore. Do you know what I mean? Everything's on your phone, so you don't really need it. And because of that, they're competing for that same space now on your phone. So, you know, it's just an unfortunate part of human nature that the thing that we look at the most is horrific things, sad things, depressing things that make you angry, just all negative stuff. Like that's what we spend like such a tremendous amount of time. I mean, you know, serial killer documentaries are like, man, you cannot not find a serial killer documentary. They're absolutely everywhere. And when you really think about the actual act of murdering someone, like, I mean, it's not really a pleasant thing to want to indulge in, but like we love to look at the dark and the gritty. And unfortunately, newspapers have jumped on that bandwagon and they've gone running, and they're just like,
well, you know, I think I understand that they've got, you know, they need to sort of sustain their business model, and that means, you know, getting as much traffic as possible onto their site and reading the stories, and then, you know, the way that those sites are set up, it's almost impossible not to click on the ads.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the business model. But I mean, at the same time, like, you know, local newspapers, local press, local radio, local news outlets, you know, that they play such an important part in, you know, the local community. And some of that is reporting on negative stories. Inevitably, you know, you've got to be able to be you know, the press has to be truthful. That's really, really important.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, but the truth, you know, shouldn't come from a point of just trying to satisfy clickbait, you know, headlines just to get people to come through when they know that it's going to sort of poke a stick at, you know, certain elements of society, you know, when there's things that really need to be reported on, you know, in a very constructive way. And, you know, it's like occasionally you do see pieces of great investigative journalism, and, you know, that then helps to kind of uncover certain, you know, things that are going on, and that can be really positive. So it's not just about just being positive for the sake of being positive, but it did rile me when you just you see a story like it's usually a headline like what would you do to make Luton a better place or something like that, and but it comes you know that it's coming from a negative place where then everyone that clicks on it goes drop a nuclear bomb on it, or raise the whole place to the ground, or whatever, and it's annoying.
Yeah, it is because that is inviting that kind of language towards people. And the thing is like you boil a place down to something so small and insignificant. Like it everything good that happens in town doesn't matter anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because if that's all you hear, that's all you believe. Like that's always been my belief in life, is that if you're just being told things and you don't go somewhere, you just believe it. That's what we're like as people. We trust way too easily, far too easily. Like, I mean, most people know that, like, the Daily Mail, for instance, is just a paper that trashes people, right? And that they often lie, and they've been caught lying plenty of times. But yet, people still bloody read the Daily Mail. It does makes absolutely no sense. But I guess that those people have been getting told a certain thing that makes them feel comfortable, I guess, and that makes them trust in the Daily Mail, and they ignore all the other sides of it. But and this is the problem when it comes to, like, with local news. I feel like they have so much more of a responsibility than those outlets. I mean, the bigger ones are kind of like runaway trains at the moment, where I don't know if anyone's actually, like, it kind of feels like there's a motive that they're trying to make us upset and they're trying to make us scared. But I don't know if that's actually a motive or if that's just the way that it works. Like, that people, we feed on our own fear, and we, like, kind of almost enjoy it. It's like self-flagellation. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't really think about the damage that we're doing to our minds when we're just constantly taking that in. But we'll just constantly take. So I don't think that the big papers, I don't think they really have control of that, because they're just chasing money. I don't think they're bothered about what the stories are. They're just going for whatever brings them the most revenue. Whereas with local papers, they don't make that vast revenue, and they never will. They're just going to be local papers forever and ever more. So what they should be doing is they should be not trying to follow the big media model. Instead, they should create their own, which should be all about positivity in your community. And of course, you've got, like you say, you've got to report on the crime, you've got to report on the bad stuff that happens, but it doesn't have to be the overbearing thing. I mean, if I walk through Luton town, I hear the sirens go off every now and then, and I don't know if it's an ambulance, a police car, or a fire engine. It's not 24/7 like that. You hear that, and even though there are a lot of things that happen in this town, there's far more good things. It's like, look at today. It's a nice, peaceful day. I've driven through the town. The place isn't on fire, but my God, the newspapers wouldn't let you believe that. They want you to think that it's like mayhem out here.
It's about truth and balance, isn't it? It's like you can. It's easy to forget that Luton is a town with a population of over 220,000 people.
Yeah.
With it's 4 miles across. It's not a massive place by geographically speaking. It's not vast.
Well, we're so condensed.
But by population, it's massive, and obviously, it's a very diverse population. It's a melting pot of different cultures. People see things in different ways, and that's all fine. And what it's unfair to expect Luton is going to be some sort of sleepy hamlet, or like it's not a quaint market town.
No,
it never has been,
never will be. No.
But why does it have to be? Like, why does it feel like the only places in the country, especially around here, that have any sort of cultural merit or merit to themselves are the pretty, quaint market
Instagrammable
towns?
towns.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're great towns too. They're St Albans, Harpenden, Hitchin.
Hitchin's a great one. I feel like that's a really weird situation because we are so close in proximity, and
Well, my wife and I run a business in Hitchin. I've got a lot of love for Hitchin.
It's a lovely place, right?
The fact that the fact that Luton isn't like that doesn't mean that it's a bad place.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they're
two different entities entirely.
I feel like sometimes, or quite often actually, we've been as a town, we've been victims of sort of a lot of snobbery people are very quick to jump on their preconceptions or prejudices against what the town is like or what the people here are like or whatever. But frankly, you and I wouldn't be talking out about it if we thought that was the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like if it becomes it's upsetting when you hear that all the time, and I think it all goes back really. I remember when that first book came out, Britain's Crappiest Towns, I think it was called, or something like that, and Luton came top, or it was in the top three
or something like that.
Like that. And it became like a sort of just a cyclical thing where that really stuck.
Do you know what? I remember the first time that I heard one of those. In fact, let me just check this is working. Sorry, I'm just so consciously aware. Yeah, we're good. Oh, you wouldn't believe how many times this has bloody stopped working on me. No, but I remember the first time when I saw one of those lists and I saw Luton in it. I thought it was funny. I actually thought it was funny, and me and my mates took the mick out of it. We was like, yes, we're number one in something. Like, we thought it was really funny. And then it came again the year after that, and it came again the year, and it's just been every year since then. We're always there. And as time's gone on, I've started to go, this isn't actually funny.
No.
Like, I didn't realise the severity of the problem of why they're saying what they're saying. And what they're actually doing is they're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, that's like, you just keep saying the same thing over and over again, and it becomes true. And it is true that happens, because what you essentially do is you stop the people from believing in themselves. They think, well, I'm from this place, I've not got as many opportunities because I'm from this place, and I'm not going to do well. My children aren't going to do well because we're from this place. Makes people want to leave. And so that's why we've had like such a mass exodus of great people from Luton. Because growing up, there was a lot of like ingenuity in Luton for me. All over the town, there was like businesses here, really cool businesses, and people were moving out more and more. Some people keep their businesses here, but then move out of the town. And I don't think that helps at all, because if you're taking people out and then we're having those people replaced with people that are coming from like quite bad backgrounds themselves, like we get a lot of London's overspill for the council houses, and a lot of places where people who have been in prison and stuff that then have to be moved into here. And it's not like prisoners are going to be 100% bad. There's some people who reform and do better, and not everybody lives in a council house as a bad person either. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is that you've got people who are from here who are good, really good, and if they stay, it would make it better. But instead, they're leaving, and we're not replacing them people with the same caliber of person. We're getting if this is my understanding from people that I've spoken to in council, we get a lot of overspill from other towns, and it's not the best of their towns. So, we're almost being used as a bit of a dumping ground.
Well, I think, if you wanted to be sort of highly cynical about it and a bit sort of conspiratorial, you'd say that it's actually very convenient for Luton to be described as the crappiest town in Britain, or, for that repeated sort of dialogue or narrative that Luton's a shithole, or that there's serious problems with this and that, and does Luton have serious problems? Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. No one's ever going to deny that it doesn't. Does it have serious problems that are unusual given the size and makeup of the town? No, I don't think it does. I don't think it's any different to London or Birmingham or Manchester or any other big town, especially towns.
I think where I would maybe disagree a little bit there is that we are placed in quite a unique place where it makes it so much easier. We're right next to the M1. We've got a train station that can pretty much go anywhere across the country. We've got an international airport. Like, those factors, alongside the fact that we are within a stone's throw of London, it sets us up to be like a little hub of criminality and of like problems in that sort of sense. Because if you're that close but you've not got to deal with the Met Police, it makes it easier. Do you know what I mean? You don't have as much. Bedfordshire Police are spread out across all of Bedfordshire.
It's very difficult.
Do you know what I'm saying? Luton we're so perfectly placed to be like a spring of crime. And obviously, even though with all of that said, I don't think that the problem is like completely unsolvable, because obviously, yeah, we do have that as to be an issue, that it is going to be harder because it is so easy here to commit crime, right? So it really is, though. It really is.
There's not many criminals watching this
Oh,
podcast.
yeah, I'm sorry, kids. Don't do crimes. No, but it really is. It's like, you know, Bedfordshire police are stretched, man.
Yeah.
They are stretched out so hard, and I don't see police out. I
Mm.
never see police out. Like, so, you know, it does make it more difficult to police an area when you've got a lack of police, and when the police force is so heavily stretched, and then we've got overwhelming cases in Luton. So it's like, the police are really struggling. They're doing their best. And do you know what? I know a lot of police officers, and I know Festus as well, the guy, the
commissioner.
Yeah, the commissioner. He's an awesome guy, but and they are doing as much as they can. But it's just like, you know, it does come to a point where it looks like an almost impossible task, and this is where we come in.
But that,
right?
And that's the point, isn't it? It's like the more people talk Luton down, the more people from Luton believe that it's a bad place, the more they leave. That, you know, the more room there is, you know, it sort of creates this vacuum whereby, you know, like you were saying, it's almost, you know, it's inviting issues into the town that otherwise wouldn't be there. And I think, you know, part of what, you know, probably the reason we got talking is because we're just both gobby Lutonians. And,
and we're fed up with it.
Try and stick up for
the
place.
It's like, you know, I got brought up in the same sort of way that you was probably brought up. Like, I can talk whatever I want about this town, but none of you can. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose so, yeah.
Like, that's how I feel. I've always felt like, yeah, I can say Luton shit, but if anybody from the outside says it's shit, I get really offended. Which might sound silly, but it's true, because, you know, I think that the people that live here should be able to criticise the town, because we are the ones that should be then to make it better. Like, I don't like just criticising. I like, you know, let's have a moan, let's have a talk to say what the problems are, let's get it out in the open, and then let's fix it.
Yeah, but I mean, also, like, you know, saying that somewhere's shit, or like, you know, saying that your town isn't good or whatever, without actually then proposing some way of trying to help make it better, or doing something that could improve it in some small way. You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's fair enough. Like, you're right. You know, if you're from here, you know what the issues are instinctively, and you know, you probably feel them more acutely than other people. But it's also too easy just to give up, or to, you know, to stay at home, barricade yourself in.
I think that adds to the problem, right?
And it does, because you know, things like, you know, the town centre, right? The town centre to me is one of the biggest problems we've got, if not the biggest problem. That, you know, when you go and you spend a lot of time down there, you know, when you're down there, it doesn't feel like the safest place. It's no two ways about it. Like, you know, if we take our kids to the cinema or whatever, and, you know, it doesn't feel like an inviting place to be. And especially after hours, you know, when it's
when
late,
it gets dark, that's when that's the bigger problem.
Well, the thing is, it's so dead. Like, the high street feels so dead. There's so little going on, you know, apart from, you know,
people just milling about.
The great pubs and restaurants that have managed to keep going. It's great, but you don't get that sense of, like, you know, you go to some towns and it feels like it's really busy. There's loads of people about, and although it feels a bit, you know, any nighttime economy always feels a bit edgy. You know, in Luton, I think because it feels so quiet, it feels
unsafe.
Like, and I think, you know, if more people were to start going back out in the town centre, if they were to go back to the pubs in the town, or to the restaurants there, or, you know, back down to I was down at the cinema on Saturday afternoon. Went to see Matilda with my kids 2 weeks ago, and it was like 6 people in there Saturday afternoon.
Really?
Yeah, 6 people. And I was just sitting there thinking, well, this isn't unsafe. This is just completely empty.
Yeah.
Like, how long can Cineworld or whoever it is sustain that?
It's the same with a lot of places that are like the kind of entertainment hubs in Luton. That's a problem that I've not really thought about, actually. And thinking about it now, I mean, when I'm out in town at night as Deadpool, there are kids everywhere, man. There are just groups of kids everywhere, and they've got nothing to do. Like, that is a massive problem. When I was a kid, man, there was loads to do. There was loads to do. And then when I got to the age of being able to go out clubbing and stuff like that, it was fun. Like, Luton was a fun place to go out. It was actually decent. But then, you know, they've taken away almost everything. And then it's like the investment back in. There's a lot of cultural investment, but there's not much entertainment investment.
But, I mean, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is it's like, the council aren't going to start opening pubs and bars and restaurants. That's not their job, is it?
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is,
it's down to the people, right?
It's like how does Luton turn around the kind of decline in, especially in the nighttime economy, whereby, like there have been people that have stuck their neck out.
Yeah.
Some obvious examples, like, Justin at the Bear Club, he had an idea.
Great place.
And that continues, thank goodness, with new owners now, which is really great to hear. But, so it's not like it's impossible to run a venue in Luton that would work.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you attract those people that have got the ambition or the money or the ideas to be able to come and bring something into Luton?
Yeah.
Despite its reputation and despite the issues that we've got, and actually try and do something that would work.
And it's sustainable as well. Something that it doesn't just, like I love that people will come up with some ideas, but sometimes something is only around for a year or two and then it's gone, and you need to have long established places. Like I love the Marsh Farm, in Marsh Farm you've got the
Futures House or the
with the Bob Marley mural on the side. Yeah. Marsh House, yeah. I love the story of how they re-renovated and over the years. It's just been like constantly getting upgraded and being made better, and it was all started like more recently by community action, and that's what made that place come back. I mean, like how much it does for like really young people, because that's what I think is like one of the major problems is, growing up in Luton now, what have you got to do? And like it's not like the young people don't have money, so they can't just go wherever they want. Like they can't go to another town and go have fun there. Like instead they're out on the street, and like, man, you know what it's like out there. People are doing drugs, people are drinking, people are getting into trouble. There's like a lot of people out there that are homeless with mental health problems. And if you're a young kid walking the streets now, like what chances do you have of like staying out of the trouble or getting into the trouble and being a victim of the trouble? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it is quite a daunting thing for kids at the moment, but hopefully with the stuff that's kind of going on in the town, it's getting better. But what we do really need now is we need community leaders. I think people that are within the areas where there are problems deciding, we need, like, I can only do so much, you can only do so much. Like we can all do it together, but we need more people to start doing it. We need like someone in like someone in Marsh Farm, like by the flats, to decide to do something about the crime in that area, to decide like, I want to start an initiative that gets kids off the street. There are guys that are doing that. There are people doing it, but we need even more. Like the problems are so big now that like we need a lot of people to attack it. But let's end on the negative stuff anyway, because I want to just keep going on about the negatives of Luton, because there's loads of good things. So
what I would say,
let me just check this as well. Hold on. Oh, it's still going. Well, why does it work for some people and it doesn't for others? It's mental.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right. I agree. Dwelling on negative things isn't going to help anything. But these are important conversations that as Lutonians who care, we need to have. We have to be honest and say, right, these are the issues. There's a lot of apathy. There's a lot of people that are afraid to do anything. Perhaps there's people that are just too busy to do things. Blah blah blah. But all I would say is, any little thing anyone can do, I'm not saying my contribution's been vast in any way, shape or form, but, I do the little bits.
No, you've done your bit, man.
I do little bits that I can, and I try and keep talking. And I think if everybody that cares just did something, one more thing, or applied for something from the council, or set up a group, or spoke to their local school, or is there something? Is there a mentoring scheme, or is there a youth club, or is there is there a local football team?
Or even as small as
I
was talking to Scott Riffwood recently. He does like community sort of action in Luton. He's the community manager in Luton. I think I can't remember what his actual title is, but Scott is amazing. Big up Scott Riffwood. Oh, it's his birthday yesterday, I think.
Happy
or
birthday,
was it today?
Scott.
happy birthday, regardless, Scott. So anyway, Scott's a great guy, but he. When he was working in a different council, he saw that there was this one particular alleyway, right, that was filled with crime. People were fly tipping in there. There was just multiple problems and plenty of complaints from neighbours of the area about this one particular alleyway. So he started a bit of community action to get the alleyway closed, right? Which is a bit of a pain in the arse for people who want to just walk through the alleyway. But do you know what? There's crime, there's problems in this alleyway. So they got it closed. The crime in that area went down dramatically. Dramatically. There was no more fly tipping in that area because there wasn't somewhere to hide. There wasn't as much crime because there wasn't somewhere to hide in this one place. So just by doing that, it was such a small, simple thing, but he changed a little bit of that area and along with other people. And it's stuff like that where you don't understand how much power we have as a people to make that thing happen, to make people's lives change. Like
I think as well, the other thing is that taking some responsibility ourselves as residents, and working with the council. The council is the council that we all get a vote. We vote for the council. We get the council that we've got. They're working very hard. That I'm not a political person, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not, I'm not here to say that.
Let's do a little disclosure.
This is, this
we
is
don't know anything.
But by if you see some fly tipping, report it to the council. They might not be aware that it's there. If you drive past it and it's still there in 7 days, you can just there's a tweet, tweet into the council, or I think there's a line that you can, and they'll come out.
They've got a thing on their website as well where you can if a fly tipping specifically,
little things like that. It's like is any council in the world faultless? No, of course not.
I don't think many people know about that though, because it's certainly not something that I was taught in school. Because that's kind of when you should be taught about that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is that you're in school and you get taught multiple things throughout school, but they don't really teach you things you need to get through life, right? Do you know what I mean? Don't teach you about taxes. They don't teach you about insurance. They don't teach you about how to run a car and look after it properly, or just how to treat your neighborhood. And not only that, they don't teach you about what the council owes you. Do you know what I mean? We pay them tax. They have a duty to us, but it's you can't really go around blaming them if they're not aware of the problem, or if you're voting wrong, or if you're not voting at all. You can't really complain. Then you've got but then people aren't taught that how much power we really do have, and it's only through inaction and ignorance that we lose that, and then things get worse. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, let's talk about you now, Ed, because that's why I'm here. We talk about Luton and all this sort of stuff, and it's great. I love it because I love that you're passionate about it, just like me. And that was genuinely why I started following you, was because I was like, man, this guy's actually quite cool, and he's saying all the things that I'm thinking. So that was why I started following you. But so you're from Luton originally, yeah?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you go to school?
So I was born at the L&D. And then my first school I went to was Purton Hill, I think.
Oh, right, yeah.
Purton Hill Infants. And we used to live kind of at the bottom of Butley Road, on the corner of Butley Road and Liston Close.
Yeah.
So we grew up in and around Hockwell Ring, and my grandma, who was from Holland actually originally, she lived in Hockwell Ring, and she worked at the hospital, and so both my parents are from Luton originally. And a lot of my family actually going back quite a long way are either from Luton, or they're from Sundon, or they're from around this part. So it's sort of deeply, I feel deeply rooted in this part of the country. And I went to Purton Hill, and then eventually we moved over here not long after this estate in Birmingham was built in about 1985, and then I moved to the Meads. So I was at the Meads juniors until I went to Lee Manor. And then I was at Lee Manor from, I think it was 88 till 93. So I was at Lee Manor during all the Marsh Farm riots and stuff like that, man. Which was,
that must have been interesting.
Sometimes a time to be alive.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, honestly, I had a great time at school. I mean, it's always been, like a sort of interesting area, Marsh Farm and around here and stuff like that. it's had its fair share of problems. But I'd also say that the sense of community you get in Marsh Farm and around there is absolutely brilliant. Like, people very proud to be from there, and the community stay there for a very, very, very long time. So yeah, I was at Lee Manor, and then eventually went on to study graphic design at Barnfield College. So I was there for a couple of years, and then went off sort of studying and travelling and things.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. And obviously you're an artist by trade.
Well, yeah, partly. I mean, I sort of do a lot of different things.
You've got a really interesting life, I swear. Like, you're showing me your drum kit, and you got guitars and stuff, and like, you do these beautiful pieces of art about Luton. Just like, man, every one that I see, I'm captivated by. I absolutely love your artwork. It's just,
thanks, mate.
Seriously, I'm such a big fan.
Oh, nice one, thank you.
It's a pleasure to know you as a person as well. No, seriously, because when I really love like a piece of art, I never know the person that's done it, and it's like, it's so much more meaningful getting to talk to the person behind the art.
Yeah.
And when you done the piece of me, like, mate, it's just like, I've had people draw me before and do that sort of stuff, but what you done with that picture was just insane. It made me so proud. I was like, man, you like made me a part of the fabric of the town in doing that, because along with all those other pictures that you've done, it just like, it builds this whole great mural of Luton. I would love to see every piece that you've done like on the side of a wall. Like I was in Limerick over the weekend in Ireland, right? I go over there like once a year, film podcasts on Saturday actually with a friend, and every time that I go over there, it's one thing that I want to bring back from Limerick into our culture is the murals. They have on the side of so many buildings these insanely beautiful murals that local artists do, and it's all local art, where it's on the side of houses, it's on the side of businesses, and it's like, it's technically graffiti, but I mean, the people embrace it so much, and it's like, it colours Limerick in such a beautiful way that you see what the people are represented by in the art. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it actually, Limerick has a similar problem that Luton has, right? Where it's always been known as Stab City in Ireland. It's always carried that moniker around. That's been from the 80s and the 90s, and most of the 2000s as well. But then in recent times, Limerick is like a real big cultural hub, and a lot of its problems are gone. And I think it's a lot to do with the art side of it. They have really embraced art in that town, and people are proud of it, and like, they want to keep it nice, and they're like, and that's what I want to kind of involve in. I would love, oh my gosh, I would absolutely love to see, like, by the side of the places where you've done your pictures, I'd love to see like on the side of a building, like that thing, so like you can kind of walk past and see the thing, like, and see the artwork next to it. That would be lovely. But I don't know what we've got to do to do that. I'm an idea guy. I'm just going to go with this now. Stop badgering people.
Two ideas guys here. Probably not a lot of action. I mean, I think it is something that is obviously very important to me. I mean, my actual career has sort of been in graphic design, and more recently marketing, and that kind of creativity. But on the side of that, music and art and drawing and writing and songwriting and any other kind of creative thing I can possibly do, I'll always do it, because to me it's something that I just have to do it. Like, I get these kind of creative urges. It sounds like a bit of a kind of, I don't know, like like a stereotype or whatever, but I do get them. And like, and one for a month, it might be like, I need to paint. So then I just go and paint stuff. And then, the next month it might be music, or the next month it might be writing, or like, I have all these ideas, and I just sort of have to get them out of my head. I also find it, really, really good therapy, like if you're finding things tough, or you've had a busy week at work, or things aren't going too well, or to be able to then turn to something creative that it uses I find that it uses my energy and channels it into a positive way. It's also pretty free, like once if you buy a cheap guitar, or you can get
you can just do it over and over again.
Like, some paper and some paints for like tenner, and it doesn't have to cost loads of money. And you can just do it whenever you want. art is something you can take on the road with you. So if you're traveling or if you're commuting or whatever, you can always have a sketchbook with you. And for me, it's just always been a great outlet. And because of, you know, my sort of having grown up in Luton and spent so much of my life here, it's just what I know, you know, it's just, and I've kind of ended up, you know, it was never necessarily a conscious decision to be like, right, I want to do, you know, Luton art is my thing. It's just, you know, when I'm trying to think about the things that I'm painting or it tends to be scenes inspired by the town in some way, either through family or through my own experiences or just through having lived here that come out within that artwork. So, and yeah, I mean, it's oil paints, it's, you know, all sorts of things really.
So
I've got a couple down there
with all the stuff that you've done of Luton, is that all oil paints?
No. So
how did you do that one?
So the recent ones that sort of got picked up by the press and you know, seem to be quite popular on Twitter and social media and stuff. They're effectively digital artworks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, you know, I take a photograph, and the whole point of doing those was originally, it was not even that long ago. I think it was back in October or something. I went to Falmouth in Cornwall with my family, and you know, we love Cornwall very much. And you know, we went down there and we had this little Airbnb place, and there was one of those kind of like 1920s style rail posters on the wall, you know, with a beautiful picture of the River Fowl, and it just said Falmouth underneath. And I thought, you know, like, you never see any of those sort of stuff with Luton. You know, you'll see it for like Hitchin or St Albans, or again like those kind of quaint market towns that, you know, that we all know. And I thought, no one's ever done that. I've never seen that for Luton myself.
Yeah.
And it was sort of just thinking, well, if I was going to do that, what would I do? You know, what would be the scene that I might want to capture? And I started to think, well, you could obviously do like the museum, or you could do Wardown Park, which are beautiful places, you know. I thought, but, you know, they're not necessarily the places in the town that actually...
that come to your mind first.
Or that really resonate with people. And I remember, like, when I used to work for Luton Town Football Club, I'd still do a little bit. When I first started working for them, I was doing this kind of campaign whereby I was trying to put the Luton crest, the Luton Town crest, at the heart of each of the communities in Luton. So I'd go out to like Marsh Farm, take a picture of the Marsh Farm flats and put the Luton crest over it, or go out to Farley Hill, or, you know, go up to like, you know, Tin Town, or down into the town centre, or up at Limbury, or round here, or wherever. And just find people that didn't mind being photographed and put the crest in, you know, as if to say Luton Town is in Luton. You know, it's not just in Kenilworth Road. It's throughout
the whole thing. Yeah.
And one of the pictures that I took at that point in time was the Curly Whirly car park.
And
I just always loved that place.
I love it. Yeah,
because I remember, like, as a kid, you know, like,
it's exciting
we didn't
to
usually,
go there. Yeah,
like, my dad didn't usually used to like parking in there, I think, but every now and again, you know, we'd end up in there, and of course, it's quite fun driving up and fun driving down.
It's even more fun driving down.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody, you know, sort of. So I thought I'd do one of that, and then I did the that green sort of.
Do you know what we call it? I know it's going to sound so stupid, but me and my son, when we used to walk to Luton games, we called it the green pumpkin.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I have no idea why. I have no idea what it is, but it's like, I'm sure everybody's got a different name for it as well.
Yeah, so it's that thing over the Telford Way roundabout, which I can remember when they first put it up. Luton won Luton in Bloom in about 1990, or Britain in Bloom. Sorry, they put that thing up, and it had loads of lovely flowers all over it, and you know, for a couple of years it was pretty nice, and then it just
became this bare bones thing.
Just chuck rubbish in
as with everything.
So I thought of that. I thought of the Curly Whirly car park, and then I did the Hat Factory, and I did the Marsh Farm flats, and I just thought, like, these are iconic buildings. Like, they're not, you know, perhaps they're not, like, I don't know,
they're not the prettiest.
Yeah, right? They're not necessarily the prettiest, but they are buildings that people can relate to, and
have a history and this like sort of nostalgia can be created through it.
But and at the same time as doing that, I didn't want it just to be nostalgic, because I think, you know, something else that we're a little bit guilty of in this town sometimes is trying to hark back to the good old days. You know, we're perhaps looking through slightly rose coloured spectacles sometimes about, you know, or maybe not. I mean, I'm sure Luton was at points in the past a great town, you know, perhaps greater than it is now. But there are still great things here today, and I think it's easy to kind of look over those and not focus in on them. And I suppose what I wanted people to do with the pictures was to look at Luton through a different lens.
Yeah.
Look at the flats, look at the pubs, look at the buildings that are in the town,
see the beauty,
and see the beauty in it, and the pride. And sometimes it's the beauty isn't necessarily in the building itself; it's the people that occupy it, or the things that you remember about that place, or you live near it, or you feel affection for places for lots of different reasons, don't you? And I did put them out on Twitter, and I did the first 4, and people really seem to latch onto them. And it's opened a lot of doors, man. It's been really cool.
I know. I mean, like, I remember when I was sort of first talking to you, and you had a pretty good Twitter followers, okay? And ever since this, it has just extremely exploded for you. I mean, you got onto BBC for it as well, which is really cool. Like, to get the recognition that you got from it is like, it's so well deserved, man. I'm so proud to have you as being a part of this town. I really am, mate. Like, it means a lot to me that there's people out there like you, because honestly, like, that's what I just need in my life. I need to see you, like, people like you. Like, I remember before doing any of this stuff, like, I love my podcast. I love art. I love, like, all of this stuff. And it's just, I was always like, I just wish there was something in the town that was like that. And there was just nothing, like, and all the stuff that is like media related in town was always really negative. And I just really badly wanted to see that there was like people that believed in our town, because for me, if people can believe in the town, then maybe I can believe in myself a little bit, because being from Luton, you are so attached to it. Like, the second that comes out of your mouth to anybody that's not from here is, you get a funny look. I've genuinely had someone turn around and walk away. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I had somebody boo as well. Yeah. They booed. Like, when does anyone ever boo in a conversation? I was like, I'm from Luton. They're like, boo.
But do you know what? I mean, I think
one second, let me just check this again. I'm so sorry.
That's right. Yeah.
No, we're doing good. We're doing good.
Just check it on the time.
Yeah.
A little bit. Right.
Yeah. I think we're good for time.
I think that the thing is that people that have that reaction to Luton, they're either, blissfully ignorant, or a lot of the time, really, they're just, they've got their own prejudices, and you could sort of, you could guess at what those prejudices are a lot of the time. Is it racism? Do they have an issue with the population that we have in Luton, or the types of people that live here, or is it because it's a former sort of industrial working class town? Is that an issue for them? I don't know. But that says more about them than it does about us.
Yeah.
That doesn't. The fact that those people have got those prejudice against us, or the population, or the communities that are here, or the type of town that it is, doesn't mean we're bad people.
No,
it doesn't mean that
exactly.
Luton's a bad place. It means that they've got a prejudice. And what I've tried to do at points in the past is ask people, like, I remember working at the football club, and, when you've got access to that Twitter account, you see all the things that people say about you.
Yeah.
And, there was a lot of lip biting, you have to kind of grow quite a thick skin.
Because I bet you just want to attack everybody.
You want to defend, what a proud town this is, and what great things we do here. And I mean, look at that stat that came out last week. With the third highest donating town in the country, according to Just
Giving. I know.
Where was that in the news?
It wasn't. And do you know what? I guarantee you that Just Giving is like a great platform for doing that sort of stuff, but there's multiple ones, and I guarantee we're high up on the list of a lot of them. Not just that, but just charity organisations. I bet that if you took it in proportion to the size of our town, the amount of charitable organisations we have here is just absolutely mind-blowing. It's really hard to keep up with.
It's a very, very big-hearted town, and I know you do work with World Appeal. I do work with those guys.
Yeah, they're great. They're great people.
Chums are based down the road in Silsden. There's hundreds of little charities, little tiny little charities that are, picking up the slack.
And then you've got great people like Community Interest Luton, like people like Mustak and Amy. Like the stuff that they do for our town is insane. Like Mustak done a thing similar to what we done. I mean, I think he's kind of almost led the way on this, because he decided a long time ago, I am sick to death of reading bad things about Luton. So he made a magazine.
Yeah.
He made a magazine where he was bigging up good stuff about the town. And then he created these amazing awards where we celebrate great people in the town. And now, for me, it's like, it's a spectacle each year to be invited to it is just awesome. But to just know, forget about being, I don't care if I'm never invited to another one. I mean, I'd love to be invited to more every year. But, you know, just to know that that's what we do, that we celebrate the people of our town, it just makes me so proud. And I just want to see more of that, man. Like, you know.
And I think that, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, you have to be honest about who we are, but you've got to have hope that, you know, that it can be the best town it can be, you know, given all of the challenges and things that we have, and, you know, all the rest of it. There's no point if you give up, if you just say, you know, Luton is what it is and it's never going to be any better or whatever, and you know, then it won't be, it can't be. But, you know, with people like yourself and Mostak and Amy and Lauren and NGYT, I had a meeting with them the other day, and Justin from the Bear and Clearhead, and like,
hey, Carl as well from Drink and Draw. He's now the manager at the Bear Club as well. Great people.
There's some really, like,
and do you know what? We're doing a disjustice. Like, I feel like I need to get a list of names to just be running down the screen. Do you know what I mean? There are so many people. So many.
You know, and there's so many people from across all the communities.
And do you know what's the best thing about it for me is that we're not heralding the politicians here as much. Like, we've got some great politicians in this town. We're very lucky. We've got some really caring people who want to do well for the town. But the people we talk about are people that have just come from the community. They haven't come with an interest in, like, this is the job that I want to do or whatever. It's just gone, I have these skills. I'm going to see if I can use these skills to make this town great. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they're just so selfless in the urge to do that. And I think that if we can continue to do this, you know, this is my job now, man. Like, I decided, like, I'm not going to be made for fortune, right? I'm going to be made for shining a light on people. That's all I'm here to do now. I'm not, you know, I realise that I've got a privileged position where some people want to listen to me and stuff, and it, you know, because of that, I don't, like, man, I'm not like the best educated person. I'm not the smartest guy in the room anywhere that I go. I think I've got a lot of kindness in me, and I'm determined.
You're trying to make a difference. Like, that was one thing, you know, when I first sort of came across you, originally I was like, what on earth is this? Like, is this for real? And for quite a long time, I thought it was a joke. I didn't realise that it was real. And then I sort of followed what you were doing and following you on Twitter and hearing about things that you were doing, and, you know, like, just chipping away in the town, you know, going out in the town centre. You seem to crop up at every fundraising thing going. I know that you've been doing a lot of work for Keach, and then I started to realize, oh no, this guy's for real. Like, what a creative thing to do. How, you know, and brave thing to do, because it's not an easy, you know, I wouldn't want to be doing it.
It's easier than you think.
Well, maybe, but I mean,
I have to say, the first time that I went out doing it, it was incredibly embarrassing. Incredibly embarrassing. Like, I had to fill up at the petrol station as well, which I just didn't think. Like, now I think about, like, all the stuff that I have to do to not get caught, right? But back then it was like, I didn't really think about, like, oh shit, I've only got like I'm on the line, I'm on the red line, I've got to fill up, and I'm in a full bloody Deadpool suit, and I go into the petrol station and people are looking at me, and I was just so embarrassed. But now it's like, I don't know, I feel freer.
I think a lot of people know who you know of you, Deadpool. You know, I mean, I was talking to Lauren the other day. She's like, he's cheeky, you know, because he texted me the other day. He passed me and he didn't have his suit on.
Oh, do you want to hear your one? Do you want to hear your one that happened?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah.
Because I see you all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. I see you all the time. Do you remember when we went to meet for a coffee and I met your son?
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Yeah.
Great kid, by the way.
Thanks.
Son, oh man, he's an awesome kid. But straight after, so I do. Sometimes I have to do an outside change, right, which is fucking dodgy as hell, man. Like, so we left, and you went through the mall, didn't you? And I went outside.
Yeah.
So I went round past the library, and I was coming up Silver Street, right? and I done my change. Yeah, I got the mask off, I got like half the suit off, and I got some of my stuff on, but I was still wearing the same shoes, same trousers. I had the same coat that I was in there with you. And as I walked around the corner, bam, there you was. Walking out, you came up past Silver Street, didn't you? So, like, and I was like, oh, and I'd literally turned around and ran the other way. But yeah, no, I mess with people all the time when I see it. I should start doing it to you because I see you quite a bit, or at least I might see someone that looks like you from behind. But
there's a few of me.
I do like to wind people up. It is funny.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. There is absolutely loads of people that really care, and it was one of the interesting things actually was when I started doing the posters, how many people that have moved away from the town saw those, and it was like, oh, really interesting one of those. You know, I sold a few prints off the back of it where people that, you know, no longer live in Luton but still care. And, you know, it'd be great to hear more from those people. You know, and
I want them to come back.
Well, I mean,
I want them to come back. You know what I mean? I want as many to come back as possible.
Like, I just like, you know, going back to what we were saying earlier on, you know, if everybody was it just before the pandemic, things in Guildford Street were getting really good fun. Like, you know, they had the Hat Factory was going on, you know, Drink and Draw just started.
Yeah.
There was a little venue that had opened up opposite the Bear Club. The Bear Club was going. You've got the George, you've got the Great Northern down there.
Yeah, there's loads.
Like,
there's
loads. There's actually
Wheelwright Arms is there.
Wheelwright's is there, of course, as well. Yeah. And, you know, then you've got Andy's record shop just around the corner, and there's always tattoo. And I was like walking around thinking, like, this is actually getting somewhere. Like, you can actually go for a really good night out in Luton without even having to go over to George Street. You didn't even have to go through the Arndale to get to the Mall to get you know, into the town centre.
Yeah.
Then of course the pandemic hit, and you know, that just set everyone back by a couple of years. But it's like, you know, you're not going to put yourself in physical danger by going for a few pints in Luton once in a while.
No,
you know,
you're right.
It's not going to, you know, you're going to see some great bands down at the castle.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to see there's some really good things to do down at the Hat Factory that you can go and see relatively cheaply.
Yeah, good shows, man. They've got some good comedians down there. I've gone to the comedy shows at the Hat Factory, and I've left in stitches. Like, they're so funny.
And even if you don't want to go to George Street, even if you don't want to, you know, even if there's no nightclubs or anything,
there's great restaurants, man.
There's loads of good restaurants, and you can, you know, you can still have a great night out in Luton, and you know, you don't need to feel like super afraid of it or anything like that. Just, you know, come in, do what you do, have a few drinks, whatever, and go home again. The businesses around there would be so happy. You know, look at Hightown. I was at the Lagoa Cafe with Lauren the other day.
Oh yeah, how was that?
So nice. Like, honestly, the food in there was unbelievable, and the people were really nice. A lovely little place. Then, you know, there's barbers and stuff up there. There's obviously you know, loads of pubs. It's loads of things you can do in this town. You don't have to go elsewhere, and you'll be all right. Trust me. Like, don't let the fear, you know, overwhelm you with something that just isn't going to happen.
Yeah,
you get Uber. Like, Luton is the easiest place I've ever been to get a taxi.
Yeah, exactly. So you can get anywhere. You can get in and out so easy. Yeah, no, you're right.
So easily. So you don't need to. You know, you don't need to be worried. And, you know, obviously support the Hats.
Yes, of course. Big up the House, comedy House. But yeah, let's wrap this up because I know you've got places to be and stuff as well. But just to round it off, can you give the people out there just a little bit of advice for what you would like to see from them, like the people of Luton? What you know, Ed, I trust you, man. If I could make you the leader of Luton, I'll make you the leader of Luton as second, mate. I swear to God, because I believe in you, man. I really do, and I think that you've probably got some cool stuff to say to people out there. So the mic is yours. Go for it.
Well, you know, it's very flattering, you know, but I think, you know, the leaders of Luton is all of us, aren't we? You know, anyone that lives here, anyone that works here, anyone that cares about the place, you know, we can all just do something, you know, one little thing every day, or not even every day, even if it was once a week. And that could be something just as small as picking up a piece of litter and putting it in the bin. Like, you know, I do it with my kids when we walk to school. You know, if we go past some litter, we pick it up and we put it in the bin. And, you know, now my kids do it automatically, you know, and it's, the thing is that when you see things in the town that look scruffy or don't look great, or, you know, it's so easy then for people to kind of be lazy because they're like, oh, well, no one else gives a shit, so why should I?
Yeah.
And then you chuck it out. So, you know, if there's one little thing you can do, it's like report some rubbish to the council, pick the rubbish up yourself, go into town for a pint, you know, go to the cinema, go, you know, try and shop locally if you can, even if it's just, you know, within your local community, and there's lots of them. But it's, you know, this is a great town, and it can be as great as we want to make it as people, all of us. You know, it's not good enough really to just try and blame everybody else. What can we do to make it better? Each of us, you know, can we challenge somebody who says it's a shithole? Like, not, I don't mean like offering them out for a punch up. I mean, like, say to them, why do you think it's a shithole? Like, what gives you that impression? Do you want to come for a pint? Like, let's go to the wheelwrights, or let's go somewhere. You know, take them, show them what Luton's like as a place. Now, it might not be for them. It's not going to be for everybody. For some people, Luton is just not going to be on their radar, and that's fine. You know, that's fine. But you know, just accepting people's criticism of it without challenging it as well. I don't think it's we're never going to change the narrative unless
if you don't actually go against the narrative. Yeah, mate, no, you're bang on. And honestly, like, just please keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully, we may have some stuff that we can do in the future together, because I've got, you know, I've got a ton of ideas. I bother you all the time with my ideas.
Yeah, no, so, we will.
But yeah, we look out, well, because me and Ed, we're coming for you. We're going to make Luton great, and hopefully everybody out there wants to do the exact same thing. Come and help us, because honestly, we can do as much as we can do. We're small part. You know, there's 220,000 people in this town. We're two of them, and we're trying, and we need help. We need an army to come out and to be helping us to do good work, to just, like Ed said, just do little things. Even the little things, they make a difference. He's so right, man. But thank you so much, Ed. And
it's been a pleasure.
I will see you soon.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, man.
Well done.
Love you, Luton. Bye. Oh, dude, you was awesome. Well done. Well done.